Today I'm going to discuss real estate contingency. Stay tuned because at the end of the video, I'll share a list of tips and tricks when using contingency clauses. I'm Kristin Stampini with RE/MAX Services and welcome to StampTV. So let's get started. What are the contingencies in real estate contracts? By definition, a contingency is a provision in a real estate contract that makes the contract null and void if a certain event were to occur. Think of it as an escape clause that can be used under defined circumstances. It's also sometimes known as a condition. So it's normal for a number of contingencies to appear in most real estate contracts and transactions. Either the seller or the buyer can propose a condition just about anything. It's all part of bargaining back and forth. Still, some contingencies are more standard than others, appearing in just about every contract. Here are some of the more typical contingencies. So, what are the types of real estate contingencies? With a mortgage approval contingency, a contract will typically spell out that the transaction will only be completed if the buyer's mortgage is approved with substantially the same terms and numbers as are stated in the contract. In other words, if the contract specifies a down payment of 30% and a conventional 30-year loan, that's what should be approved by the lender. So usually that's what happens, though sometimes a buyer will be offered a different deal and terms will change. It really just depends. The type of loan, such as VA or FHA, may also be specified in the contract. So two might be the terms for the mortgage. So for example, there might be a clause stating this contract is contingent upon a buyer successfully obtaining a mortgage loan at an interest rate of 5% or less. That means if rates rise, suddenly making 6% or whatever it is, which I know we haven't seen in a while, then it's no longer available. The contract would no longer be binding on either the buyer or the seller. Insurance approval. A buyer would not want to close on a home and the lender definitely would not close on it if the buyer was unable to get homeowner's insurance. So the buyer should immediately apply for insurance to meet deadlines for a refund of the earnest money deposit if the home can't be insured for some reason. So sometimes past claims for mold or other issues can result in trouble getting an affordable policy or maybe roof issues. Okay, so an appraisal contingency, the deal should be contingent upon an appraisal for at least the amount of the selling price. So should the appraisal come back and lower, another negotiation might become necessary to see if the seller will lower the price to make up the difference, or maybe the buyer and seller can each make up a little. If not, the circumstance could void the contract. So the closing date. The completion of the transaction is typically contingent upon a closing date before or on the date usually specified. Let's say that the buyer's lender develops a problem and can't provide the mortgage funds by the closing funding date cited in the contract. Technically, the seller can back out, although the closing date is usually just extended. That's usually really what happens. However, if the seller has another higher offer in the wings, he might want to enforce that contingency, using it as a way to leave the current agreement, contract agreement, and accept the better offer. So that does happen. Just depends on what kind of market. Inspection discovery, some real estate deals might be contingent upon the buyer accepting a property as is. It is common in foreclosure deals where the property may have experienced some wear and tear or neglect, Or more often though, there are various inspection related contingencies with specified due dates and requirements. These allow the buyer to demand new terms or repairs should the inspection uncover certain issues with the property and to walk away from the deal if they aren't met. So the seller can then either accept or reject those terms. Rejecting them would also terminate the contract immediately. Satisfactory walkthrough, often there's a clause for that, specifying the transaction will close only if the buyer is satisfied with the final walkthrough. That's broom swept condition in the same condition as they sought, okay, when they purchased the property. It is to make the property where it's not suffered any type of damages since they've seen it, okay, and since they entered the contract, or to ensure that any negotiated fixing of the inspection are uncovered and the problems have been fixed, okay? So, sale of another home contingency. Sometimes the buyer is only able to close if he or she can get funds from the sale of a current home. 67% of the people in the U.S. are homeowners. So this does happen. Usually under contract at the time he enters into the deal. So if he makes the new deal contingent upon the successful close of his old place, a seller accepting this clause may depend on how confident he or she is on receiving other offers for her property. So thanks again for tuning into my channel. I hope you liked the video. And if so, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and leave a comment. Also, subscribe to my channel. I give weekly tips and tricks for buyers and sellers. Every single Tuesday, I have new episodes just for you. If you would like a real estate addendum checklist, just leave a comment and I would be happy to share it with you. Or if you'd like to talk about anything or send me a message about anything in this video, I would be happy to talk to you about that as well. Okay, not all real estate agents are the same, and we are out there to always help our buyers and sellers. Have a great day.